think were connected that come into my head when hearing this. You have to kind of bear with me as I try and go through this, right? So I think there's a strong David Bowie influence in everything he does, and I think I seem to remember reading that on his Twitter or his website or somewhere. Absolutely get that. I heard like almost pulp, Jarvis Cocker pulp things going on in there, which I guess kind of fits with the Bowie thing. You can kind of see where that comes. There's a band I mentioned offline called the Decemberists,
right?
And it really strongly reminds me of the Decemberists. The Decemberists are kind of they're an American band, but they have a kind of English folk rock sound, but kind of darker, if that makes sense. So, and they did a brilliant concept album that I cannot remember the name of now, but I will look up and tweet it later. Really, really good band. I first caught them on Jules Holland, which is a really good show for finding new music over here. And yeah, it's really weird because they're all really heavily influenced by bands like Fairport Convention and Steel Ice Band and kind of folk bands, English folk bands, but they have this kind of dark side to it, and there was something about it that reminded me of that. And then the fourth one that I think you guys will think is a bit weird, but if you know Cradle of Filth and if you know your death metal at all, they have a song, and again I can't remember the name of it because I wasn't expecting to talk about this. I haven't looked at it recently, but they have a song that is really, it's got this chant that just goes over and over, and it's quite powerful and it builds up, and it's really Cradle of Filth's a bit tongue-in-cheek and a bit kind of cheesy, and it's all a bit Satan-y and all the rest of it, but it's really good musically most of the time, and their kind of chant, this chant in that, or chanty style of this, reminded me of Cradle of Filth, bizarrely. So if you smush those four things together, I think that's what Lord Numbs ended up creating on this new track. How much it sounds like the other one, I don't know, but I don't think it's a bad thing that I don't know. I just find him fascinating, and Lady Numb must be very proud.
Indeed, I thought it was a pretty cool track. I like, his stuff is definitely pretty unique. And, the one thing that I picked up on was that the original sound of the guitar when it's first being played, the acoustic sound, it almost sounds really cool because as the chord is being strummed, it's almost like there's a couple of strings that are accidentally left silent and they sound kind of dead in there, which is just kind of a cool sound to have. So I think that was really neat to have in there because not sure if it was planned or it wasn't, but either way it works, and it definitely catches your attention. And it does have that kind of chant and that kind of dissonance to it, and I was into it. It was cool. I'm not really sure how much different it is from his other song that we heard tonight, but one thing that I also found was interesting was that the lyrical content of this song sounded more like it was an essay when they were first starting it, because it sounded like it was like being read off of a historical site landmark,
right?
Which was kind of neat. So it was definitely interesting as far as the tone goes, and as far as the actual content lyrically. But it does work, and his stuff is unique. So I can't say anything bad about it. I think it's cool. I think he should just keep doing what he's doing, because there's definitely always going to be a spot for him with it.
Right on. So next up is a brand new one by Under a Banner. This one's called Wild Places. Dig this.
Fellow captives, tumbling of numbers, threw us all together here like cluster bombs or shrapnel, or the memory of confetti falling. I'd never make a great recluse pictures of you, or the shadows in the cave that play. Yeah, before I die, I wanna go to the wild places. Wild, free the tracks open in a drawer. Hey, yeah, before I die, I wanna go to the wild places, totally wild, free of the tracks and the human traces, dark designs, making you think these sacred places could ever be mine. Space is time. Teach me to be still.
They played that.
Right on. Under a Banner with Wild Places, and that was really cool. We heard a song by them a few weeks ago called Victory Time, and same sort of idea musically. I mean, it was really cool. Kind of, it's got, you know, just that almost Celtic feel to it, but like really cool, like a really hard hitting and like really enjoyable, really catchy as well.
Yeah, definitely, and it had, you know, again, it had the kind of punkiness in the background. I was just saying, I really love a wah pedal. You know, I one of the things I do in the band is make a real effort not to use my wah pedal on every guitar solo, because I think if I had the choice, I probably would. But then they would all sound the same. So it's quite addictive, and it's such a lovely sound when you put it off. And that was an example where they pulled it off really nicely. Yeah, the whole thing was rock and roll, punk rock and roll. Absolutely loved it.
I thought it was really good too, and yes, I do have a thing for guitar wah too. I think Mike and I can probably start our own support group when it comes to wah pedals and audits. But I enjoyed this tune on a couple of different realms. I love the way the vocals were. I loved how the harmonies were buried in the mix, where if you weren't listening or you were listening just the right way, they crept out again. You're like, ooh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I liked how the second verse, the bottom fell out. We had that whole bass line thing going again with just, it sounded, I thought, like a tambourine or something in the back too. So I thought that was a good touch. The vocals were really good. I dug those. I thought they were really solid. It had a little bit of a new edge kind of feel to it. And I thought it was a good rock song overall. I liked the reverb on the vocals. They sounded really wide and cool. So it was a good tune. I'm excited to see more of these guys too. I definitely think this is stuff to check out.
Right on. Well, just before we get to the next tune, go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, you can tune in to Brian and I's spin-off podcast, the Wild Pedal Support Group, 25. On Spreaker.
Special guest speaker Kirk Hammett.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's more in the wah pedal surgery.
Yeah, right.
He's beyond the support group. He needs physical help.
So just before we get to our next tune, some friends and I they were talking about Family Guy and some old Family Guys, and specifically the one where he finds out he's got a half brother, and they're reading what it says on an inscription. And it says, he says, oh, come on, Brian. It doesn't really say it, does it? No, see, it's right here. It says, like, so,
oh, God.
One of my favorite shows, if you haven't guessed by all already.
Oh, man, you know, I love Family Guy. South Park's the other one I think you like, and I love South Park.
South Park is gold.
Yeah, it really is. All of those kind of anything that subverts reality in such a way that it's ridiculous but also on point, I think is a really special thing. I mean, we live in a time where there's a few of those.
Oh, right. It's just the political satire, right? And they always tie a moral into the end of the episode. That's why they get away with so much. And it's one of those things I could go on forever about, just because it's one of my favorite TV shows ever. Like, really. So, But it's just one of those things. I'm not going to go on because I could go on forever about it. So we're going to get to our next tune here. And this band is called Antipole, and they're from Norway, because I know I heard you guys talking off air about this. So
they're definitely from Norway.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So this is Antipole with AC52. Dig this.